Welcome to the One-on-One, a podcast about anything and everything with no topic being off limits.
I'm loving this show.
Listen, my whole family loves it, man.
It's the only podcast I listen to.
Each week, we deliver in-depth conversations and interviews based on getting to know our guests. Are you ready to go one-on-one?
Yep.
Here's your host, Adam FatefulEndingz Gibson.
What's going on, guys? FatefulEndingz here. As always, you can call me Adam if you so very well please. And today I am bringing back a series that you thought was gone on this channel. I'm talking about the one-on-one, where I sit down with someone, or I just sit down with you, the fans, and talk about what's on my mind. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing you today Mr. Aaron Corcoran, which sounds really weird calling him that, because you probably know him as Snowdemon insert numbers here on Twitch. But he can introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Adam, or should I say Grandmaster over here. And yeah, I guess as we're doing this, one-on-one thing you wanted to do.
And so I guess since this is the first time, Snow has been on a, show like this. So really, I have questions that I'm going to ask him. He doesn't know. Maybe I don't even know them. Who knows? But we're going to get to know him better and let you, the audience, know him and let him really promote himself. He's an up-and-coming Twitch streamer, support small streamers. He's getting up there. But without further ado, let's get into it. So a lot of people know you as Snowdemon502 on Twitch, but most people don't know, I guess, the real person that a lot of your Twitch faithful, a lot of your moderators know you as. So my opening question would be, what are you like outside of Twitch? Like, what do you do?
What do I do? So previously, when I first started streaming, I was a soldier back starting from early 2012 up until present currently. And during the time period after I came back from my deployment, I wanted to get into the streaming industry. I've seen people get big off of that, and I was like, all right, well, let me jump in on this. And I guess here I am now. I'm now exiting the military, still doing my stream thing. I've found more time to be able to do stuff with everybody. And on top of that all, I've actually been able to acquire a civilian job now. I know it's crazy, where I'm now a plumber. Didn't think that would ever come. But outside of streaming, I'm just like everybody else. I try to do the best I can throughout the days, but we all know, sometimes your best just isn't good enough, or so it may seem. But, I try to at least make a change, learn something new every day. At least, even if it's a little thing, I try to at least learn something new. And, I just try to do my right, That's really what it comes down to. I've got a very small circle of friends. I try to keep it, nice and tight, so I at least know who's got my back and whatnot and who doesn't. But aside from that, I don't drink anymore. I try not to smoke anymore. I'm back to just really trying to grow myself as a person, not so much as a stream, but the stream will grow as I grow.
I gotcha. And so you said you're transitioning from sort of the military style work to the civilian job, and what are the differences that you're seeing? Does it feel different to you compared to what you've been used to for, I don't even know how many years your military contract was in for?
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference, because right now I'm still as I'm transitioning, I'm still trying to, I'm finding it really difficult to be able to, work with the civilian population as I used to, be just a soldier, always being around soldiers 24/7. Our mindset was completely different, and I'm not saying we're better than anybody, nor am I saying that, civilians are better than us. It's kind of just a different mentality, because, for the military, you wake up, you get into your PT uniform, you go do your workout for the morning, take a shower afterwards, and then you're right back to work after you get some breakfast, and you go work from 9 to 5. And then, you're normally off for the day, depending on what your job is in the military, because, there's shift jobs and whatnot. But in a civilian, on the civilian side, you're not provided your uniforms all the time. A lot of times you're buying your stuff for your uniform, whereas the military provides you that when you first come in. So you get all your uniforms given to you and everything. So I'm really finding that a lot of the times I should have had a little bit of money saved up so I could start buying more stuff for my employee job. But being a civilian and whatnot, job, I guess would be the best way to put it. Really, I mean, there's really a huge difference in mentalities when, you really look into it, coming from there. So I'm having a really rough time trying to transition over to this new life that I'm going to have. But I'm doing it slowly but surely. It's a huge transition on this.
And so would you say, as somebody who is now transitioning out of the military, would you say that for anybody newly enlisting or even, coming in off of college or one of the military academies as an officer, is that something that they really need to be aware of, is, already start thinking ahead to how you're going to transition out and how to make that easier for yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times people come in the military, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do 20 years and then, I'm going to retire and so on. But sometimes, plans don't always fall in line. So you should always have a follow-up plan, like just in case something doesn't always work out. Like my plan, I'm very clear about my plan. I wanted to get out of the Army and try the civilian side a little bit, go to college, get a degree. I'm not entirely sure in what. I'm currently looking at either mechanical engineering or a law degree. So it's one of the two that I'm looking at. But I do want to come back in the military to finish out the last 10 years of it, just, as an officer this time. So I did the first 10 years as enlisted. I want to try the other 10 years as an officer and then retire with my pension and everything. So absolutely, if you're getting out of the military or if you're just getting into the military, make sure you have a plan. There's no better way to go about it. If you have a follow-up plan, you can't go wrong.
Very true. And using that as a segue here, so we talked about, your life transitioning out of the military. So now let's, I want to swing my way back around to, what was your mindset and your thinking coming into the military? What made you make that decision?
Into the military? So ever since I was young, I did want to be a soldier at some point in time. I wanted to do infantry things, and I saw all these cool movies with these military guys doing all these cool things in them, and I was like, I want to do that when I grow up. So when I hit 18, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm doing it. So I just jumped on it as fast as I could, and that was the reason I did it. I mean, it was kind of like one of those follow your dreams kind of things, and that was mine at the time, and I love the military for what it is. It's it has its ups and downs, but just like anything else in life, you always push through those and keep going.
And like you said, you were infantry, so what exactly, if you didn't get picked for infantry, or maybe if infantry was not, hey, this is something that I've wanted to do, but now I'm kind of second guessing it, what was your backup plan for the military if you didn't want to do infantry?
I didn't want to do infantry. I mean, honestly, I didn't really I didn't have a second job in mind when it came down to it. I gave my recruiters a really hard time about it. Look, it's infantry or nothing. I don't want any other job you have. This is it. If they didn't have the job, I probably would just have waited until the job was available realistically. Mm-hmm. Because that was the job that I wanted. There was no other job I wanted in the military. A lot of people, make fun of people who are in the infantry for oh, you're not smart enough to do any other jobs or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I got a pretty high score when I was coming in, and I've met some of the smartest people on the infantry side as well that I've ever met in my entire life. So, I mean, it's just overall, you're the jack of all trades when it came down to it. You could do anything.
Gotcha. And so, during this time, and I know I'm going to blindside Snow when I ask this question. So during this time, when did, your whole Twitch streaming and everything, when did that come to fruition?
When did it come to fruition?
Yes.
I mean, ooh, so you used some big words on me. No, I'm just gonna, yeah, so, the Twitch streaming, it was, I want to say early 2015, 2014, I started looking into it. That's when I really started digging down to it. I didn't have anything to really stream on, and I had to kind of save money so I could get the proper equipment. So I think 2016 I started streaming. I mean, I just wanted to, be able to share the content that me and my friends, when we played games, there was always good times, good laughs. Everyone was just, relaxing as we were doing it and having fun. And the funny times never seemed to end. So I was like, this would be a good thing if I started streaming this, let other people kind of in on what, me and my friends do during our gameplay. So that's kind of like where the streaming like started, you know. Like that's my future plans. I kind of wanted to like make this like a really big channel, and I'm all about, you know, like just welcoming everybody in, you know. I mean, obviously I don't want negative people in there, but you know, like you can't control everything when it comes down to it.
I mean, and when you did start streaming, I remember a couple of your first streams, you streamed on a very bad quality gaming laptop.
I did. Yeah, no, when I first started streaming, it was rough. I had an Alienware, what was it called? It was the M14, I believe it was. I'm not entirely sure what the actual laptop's name was, but it was an Alienware laptop that I got while I was in Afghanistan, so I thought, oh yeah, this is a good quality laptop, without doing any research on what good specs were on or anything. And my stream quality when I first started was really, really low. So, I mean, obviously, you know, starting from like back then to where we are now, the channel has definitely grown in a very positive way. But, I mean, like, there wasn't really much I could really do about it at the time, just because I didn't know. You know, I was very inexperienced when it came down to the streaming side of things.
Very true. I mean, I remember when I found you off of Facebook, and for this story to make sense, how do I know you?
Alright, so because he doesn't really want to say it, I'll say it for him. The way me and Grandmaster met was when I went to college with my ex-wife, who was my wife at the time when he started following my channel, and he became a moderator for the channel, you know.
Just to correct you, I did not go to college with her. We went to high school. She graduated a year before me.
Oh, well, you know, I didn't have my story straight. But, yeah, no, so they went to school together. There, I'll put it like that. They went to school together, and that's how, you know, I got introduced to him, was through her. But, yeah, so he's one of my ex-wife's friends, and, you know, that's how we met. It's a pretty good deal on how we met, because ever since then we've been talking since.
I mean, let's put it this way. Most Twitch streamers on that platform have never met their moderators outside of a voice. He flew down here and actually hung out with me and went bar hopping and did all this other crap that you do with your buddies. So, I mean, when he says he likes to keep his circle of friends, he basically, you moderate for him, you're in chat with him, you're talking, he considers you a friend.
That's it. I mean, and my stream, your family, when it comes down to that, if you're a moderator, I probably are, like, I plan on meeting you in the future, or I've already met you. Yeah. I do like to make sure I know who my moderators are. It just makes sense to me, because, you know, I put a lot of trust into them when it comes down to my channel, and, you know, what better way to trust someone than meeting them firsthand, you know?
Yep. And so we're back on the topic of Twitch. So what would you say is your, I guess, specialty gaming wise? Like, what games do you, whenever you think of yourself, you're like, yeah, these are the games that, you know, I love?
Good. That's actually a really good question, because I'm really good at first-person shooters, so I like to think. Mm-hmm. I prefer first-person shooters over many other games. I like virtual reality games a lot, but when I'm playing games, a lot of times I don't like to stream role-playing games or stuff like that, and those are normally my favorite ones to play as my personal favorites. I just don't stream them mainly for the viewers, you know, because the viewers don't really enjoy the role-playing games. They more wanted like FPS, or they wanted something different. So I do always try to like provide them different content when it comes down to games. So I always am on the lookout for new ones. So as my specialty games, I guess would be role-playing games, but for the stream's sake, I always do first-person shooters or something third-person, like something adventurous for them. Something like try not to like, you know, flood them with stuff they've always seen.
And so I actually don't remember. Have you ever played an RPG game on stream?
Ooh, that is a good question. Actually, I believe it was yesterday I played Star Citizen on the stream, and that is, I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the most buggiest stream I've ever had, but it was so funny to watch. I believe that was my first RPG I've streamed. I mean, if it's not, I mean, I can't recall what other RPGs I've played on stream.
I mean, I would honestly say, if you're looking for a good RPG, and these are the games that I love to play, aside from Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is another beast entirely of itself. Like, Valhalla, I've deviated so far from the main story that I'm doing like X amount of side quests and haven't even touched the main story in like X amount of days. But Far Cry, that series is probably my favorite video game series.
I think I stopped playing Far Cry on the second one, the second Far Cry that came out. My disc that I bought for Far Cry 3 just didn't work, so I never got a chance to play anything after that.
And it's just like, it kind of checks the boxes on everything that I think makes a good game, I guess. I mean, it's graphically insanely beautiful, like hugely open world. You have, you know, the survival aspect of it. You're having to forage for food, like hunt animals to like extend your clips and your weaponry and your, you know, holsters and all of that good shit. You know, the storyline aspect. And if anybody has played a Far Cry game, those storylines are insanely weird. And then just, I don't know, it's one of those games where you have a main storyline, and similar to Assassin's Creed, you have a main storyline, and then you can do all these side quests like building up your arsenal, taking over forts and compounds and everything, you know, killing X person to get this reward, and all of that really just makes the main storyline that much easier. And it's the game where I look forward to each successive addition to the franchise, which Far Cry 5 coming out soon, but yeah.
I just thought of another RPG that I've played. It's Ark Survival Evolved. I've done that one on stream as well. There you go.
You know, I've never touched Ark yet.
Definitely an interesting game, to say the least.
I mean, it seemed really cool and everything when it was like more like dinosaur based, and now with everything that they're adding to it, it's like, what even, like half of these creatures aren't even dinosaurs anymore. They're like 90% fantasy.
I mean, I think that's what makes the game like interesting, to say the least. Like, I know dinosaurs, so like, yeah, it's cool to have, you know, dinosaurs roaming around, but then you start running into aliens and, you know, flying whales. I mean, come on now, let's be real. That's a good game right there.
I mean, this will probably be the only time where you see, like, you know, crap from dinosaurs meeting aliens, meeting, you know,
robots,
or things from the Ice Age, because I mean, you know, dinosaurs and Ice Age didn't exist at the same time, but in this game they do.
Definitely check it out.
Oh yeah,
check it out.
So you talked about venturing into, you know, the whole college and collegiate aspect, and I really want to dive more into, because this is something you haven't even shared with me. When you threw out mechanical engineering and law, the first thing that came out of my mind was, you know, what the hell? He hasn't even brought this up to me yet. So I guess, what are your thoughts behind that, and what do you want to do with that?
Okay, so I threw those two out there. That's something I want to get behind, is because a lot of people that do those jobs make a decent amount of money, and I would like to be able to live a comfortable life. You know, like, as a contingency plan, I would rather have, you know, like the schooling and everything behind something that, you know, pays well. Mm-hmm. You know, so I would rather do that, and because, like, my dream overall is to be able to do full-time streaming in YouTube. But, you know, as like a contingency plan in case it doesn't work out, because the Twitch market is so flooded right now with streamers. I mean, there's still that possibility that it may not happen, so I'm just having a contingency plan backing me up on what I want to do, so I could still stream, but also be living somewhat comfortably.
So, have you ever thought about, because I know you really want to make it on Twitch, but have you ever thought about investing more so into the YouTube side along with your Twitch? And I know you, for people who don't really know, you know, you are sitting on some videos that you're editing and everything that are, you know, Twitch highlights and everything, but I'm talking about expanding past Twitch highlights.
Yeah, I've definitely looked into it. I don't have any, like, ideas for it yet, so when I'm building up a picture in my head, I have to, like, before I act on it, I have to, like, have the whole, you know, background laid out, so at least I know the steps I need to take to do so. So I'm still learning the YouTube thing as I go along the way, but for the most part, I want to at least get the Twitch side of things, you know, move over to YouTube with a somewhat of a backing, and then, you know, it'll grow from there, as long as, like, I come with some kind of backing behind me, you know, and not just randomly appearing on YouTube. I'll be able to, you know, grow a little bit better than those who just kind of magically appear.
Which is very true. I guess my whole thought process here, and an idea that I would throw out to you, is do have this military experience, and there's a huge niche in YouTube for that. I guess sort of helping people that are going through that, like what to expect and all that good shit that only you would know, or somebody that went through that the same as you did would know, if you get what I'm throwing down.
Right. I did look into the military side of things, and how the military works when it comes down to it. There's a lot of regulations that I didn't really want to read into too much when I was in the military, but now that I'm out, I'm definitely thinking about, I have a whole military side of me. Like, that's most of my adult life right there. So I have a lot of experience I could definitely throw out there, and that's something I could definitely look into to be able to expand on and be able to help those who are going in or getting out or going through rough times in it, and be able to kind of guide them appropriately, of course.
It makes sense. In the end, this is your channel, and if people don't understand this, I'm one of the ones that helps them with it. Just throwing it out there.
True. He's the guy in the background. He's a little voice in my head that tells me, don't do that or do this. But
like being real though, like he'll run different crap by me, like, hey, this is make a good video, hey, how do I edit, hey, how do I do this? And it's a lot of this is still stuff that I'm learning how to do, so it's an experience for me to learn it, and then to learn enough to be able to teach somebody else how to do it. So it's honestly an experience in and of itself. But any of the graphics you see on his Twitch, minus his stream layout. His stream layout, he actually, bought that for himself. But his graphical buttons and everything, those are my, now at this point, looking back at them, really kind of scuffed creation, but it gets the job done. And I made that straight up from just tutorials.
I didn't buy it. Patient on that. I said I was going to buy one, but I didn't. I didn't buy it.
Wait, you didn't buy it? How did you?
I don't remember. I have it though, but I never bought it. I didn't have any money at the time.
Are you sure you didn't buy it?
I just have it.
Alright, so you heard it here first. Snowdemon somehow ripped off a layout.
I have it. I don't. If I was going to buy something, I would have, it would have been a little different than what I have now. But with what I have, I'm okay with it. It's just, I didn't buy it.
Alright, so, hit him up to figure out how to scam websites. Moving on.
Oh, man.
So, I figured this could be the time where I bring up some embarrassing things that he probably does not remember.
Oh, man. Are we talking about those streams?
I don't know. Are we talking about those streams? What are categorized as those three?
You did that he probably won't remember, so I'm like, alright, this is probably going to be about those streams.
So, if I recall, and I don't think that you probably do, you have stories on me too, so, but there are streams that probably are not even available anymore, because, the clip has disappeared. But there's this game called, I believe, was it Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2?
Dark Souls, and this is some good tip advice right here for anyone who's planning on streaming it. I can easily tell them what not to do now.
But the one thing you would probably advocate is, because of how hella hard that game is, get drunk.
Exactly. I remember how that went down. I remember how it first started. I don't remember how it ended.
So, I can tell you how it ended. So, it started with, I don't know, I think he was just drinking, throughout the game, just repeatedly, it was just gonna be a chill night. He was having some drinks, he was playing the game, and then, I don't know if it was me or if somebody else threw out the idea of, hey, every time you die, I think it was either take a drink or finish your drink.
It was take a shot every time I die.
And I don't know who...
Or take a sip, yeah.
I don't know who threw that out there or why he even accepted to do it, because he easily could have just shut that down. But I think he was already riding a buzz.
I like a challenge, okay? I didn't expect to die as much as I did that game.
And so, with him saying that, if you guys don't, understand or know the Dark Souls franchise, or even that company and the games that they make are notoriously difficult, and you die a lot. So, putting our context clues together, it got to the point where he didn't even know what he was playing anymore.
Look, we got to a point in the game where there was an invisible bridge, okay? You have to follow these little snowflakes that are hitting the ground.
There was an invisible bridge.
Yeah, it's an invisible bridge. You got snowflakes falling on the ground, and you have to... When they hit the invisible bridge, that's where you know it's okay to step. And I kept falling off, because at this point, I was so drunk I couldn't actually see where the snowflakes were hitting, and everything was blurred. So, at that point, I ended up just dying endless amounts of time. It was bad.
And then, I don't know if this is where his mind blacks out for some reason, he got to a point during that where he just started hysterically laughing. So he was doing that. He leans back in his chair, and the chair, he leans too far back and completely wipes himself out across the floor. And then all you hear is just this loud body hitting floor noise. And it's quiet, and then you just hear his hysterical laughter again. And we're all just sitting there like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? And his hand just comes up like, yeah, I'm fine, and then just starts laughing again.
Good time. Well, at least I know what not to do. Like drinking streams, if you ever do one, just don't do it on Dark Souls. That's it. Just that's where I drew the line.
Or, I mean, don't accept that role. Don't.
Look, man, I accept challenges. Okay, that's a big thing about me is like I will accept many to most challenges thrown at me during stream. If it's something that might be too easy, I don't accept it.
Says I accept challenges.
Yeah.
Almost hurts himself doing a challenge.
A challenge is a challenge, man. It wasn't meant to be easy.
I'm trying to remember any other stories from you streaming.
I mean, I really don't have that many stories about me streaming. I mean, yeah, no, there's really not too much out there that have been like wild.
No,
that night was special.
No streaming scandals, controversies.
No.
Have you been canceled
None
yet?
Of that. I've not been canceled yet. It hurts.
See, this is how you know he's made it big. Once you're part of a scandal and you get canceled, you've made it big.
And what would the scandal be on me? We got to figure that one out.
What would the headline be?
Exactly. We need to, really get into this. I'll help you, cancel me.
Snowdemon502 hates the
babies. I don't like babies. Babies kind of creep me out.
Snow was kind of playing stepdad at one point.
I know. I was a stepdad for a little bit. I did not like it.
Oh, and well, bridging to another question here. Snow is this bachelor type of dude, doesn't really have any plans for children yet. Because honestly, I feel like he's kind of in the same boat that I am, where I don't want children until I know the woman's right.
Oh yeah, it's a dangerous game.
Exactly. Well, Snow kind of had a woman that already had a child.
Oh, I did.
And so I just would like to, have him enlighten us on how was his crash course in fatherhood. What did he learn?
I learned that I do not want kids ever. Nope. I was so tired at the end of every single day. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to play games. I didn't want to do nothing. I don't want kids. Simple as that. I learned real quick that is not the life for me.
You didn't want to be a dad? I thought you loved it.
Oh no, I don't mind being an uncle. I don't mind that at all.
Well, because you can give the kid back.
They're not my kids. I don't take them home with me. Whereas, being a dad, I kind of have an 18-year responsibility on my hands. I'm not up for that. I have commitment issues with that. 18 years is a long time.
I don't know. Commitment issues is kind of a red flag right there.
I mean, let it be a red flag. I will wave that sucker high. But normally, when I meet someone, I always try to, let them know right off the rip, like, hey, this is not what I want. This is what I don't want. So like, there's no hidden.
What's incorporated in what you want and what you don't want?
Really, I just don't want to be remarried, and kids are off the table until further notice. I definitely want to get the snippety snips to avoid that at all costs. Aside from that, I just want, I just wanted to find someone who could, be there for me, just like I would be there for them. Someone who actually, put something on the table of the relationship compared to not putting anything on the table, and then I'm just putting everything there. Like a 50-50 kind of deal. Obviously giving 100% of that 50 each time, but, it's 100% from both sides. You know what I mean?
Now I get you. I'd have to assume the reason you don't want to be remarried is the reason you don't want to be married because the last marriage ended in a divorce, or what?
The reason I don't want to be remarried is because I've gone through the marriage game. I have experienced it firsthand for many years, and there's nothing that, it's the hard part about it is, like, let's say you guys don't work out, then you have to go through the government to not,
which makes sense.
You have to go through the government to make sure, you can get divorced and whatnot, and they have a say-so on your relationship at that point, compared to if you're just dating them, then it's like, okay, it's another story. Like, big government doesn't come in and say, hey, like, let's help her or help him, Luckily, thankfully, my ex-wife was a pretty good person, like an amazing person overall, because I didn't have to really come out of pocket for much of anything aside from, the normal costs of it. There's no alimony, there's no, they didn't come after any of my stuff. like we had a pretty equal agreement on the divorce itself. We were very very nice about it towards each other. We're still friends to this day, in fact. So I mean, I think I got really lucky on my first marriage, and that's kind of like opened up my eyes to the fact that I don't want to get remarried in case, because not everyone's going to be like that. I don't like the risk of it not being like that is what worries me.
I mean, I don't even remember 90% of my ex's names. It's just, needless to say, I don't stay friends with them.
I'm a very friendly person. I try to, remain at least casual with them at all times. Not casual and like getting with them, but like casual as like, oh, we're just friends, it's nice seeing you, how are you doing, so on and so forth. But nothing more than that. Like, I try to remain at least nice about everything. I don't like to be a bad guy when it comes down to stuff like that.
I mean, my motto, which is slowly evolving but slowly becoming reality, is you do me wrong, I honestly don't want to be with you.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense though. Like, if you get done wrong, then it's like, all right, bye. But if like you guys just end on terms like that are normal, it's like, okay, we just didn't work out for each other. You
oh yeah,
with your life,
totally.
But if you do someone wrong, yeah, it makes sense. Like, just get out of my life and bye.
GTFO.
Yeah, bye, Felicia. I ain't got time for this.
So bringing up bye, Felicia, every generation has their typical lingo, and yes, for people who want to know the style of these podcast interviews, whatever you want to call them, it's a lot of me jumping around. This is just how it's stylized. Just putting that up front. But anyway, so there's a lot of different lingo that every generation has. And me and Snow were actually talking about that a week or two ago, about how the current generation's lingo and their phrases, honestly, are 75% ripped off from us and 25% cringe.
I mean, he's not wrong. It's pretty bad.
No cap, though.
It's pretty bad. We looked it up. We sat here for 3 hours on the phone just looking at all the different types of lingo that's being used now.
Some of that stuff was very sus, no cap.
No cap. Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, we didn't spend the whole phone call, talking about it, but there was a good hour's worth of content right there. It was just us just talking about the lingo that they're using.
Sheesh.
No cap. Sheesh.
That's one of his favorites.
Favorite.
We talked about that, and literally every 2 minutes he had to do it. To me, I kind of just don't get it, and I guess this is me adopting the "you kids get off my lawn" mentality. I don't understand their lingo. At least ours kind of made sense. This just seems like, we're bored and decided I'm gonna start saying this.
Great. I love it. They should keep going. I enjoy every little bit of it. Come up with whatever lingo you want to, because I'm all for it. Let's hear it. I get my chuckles out of it.
I mean, I feel like that'd be a very bussin' decision.
Yes, bussin'.
And so, have you ever noticed, right? And I saw this meme, and I had seen it on Facebook a lot, and it finally made its rounds back to me the other day. And it was basically, when you grow up being carefree like SpongeBob, but then realize everybody turns into Squidward.
It's absolutely true. I still try to hold on to my SpongeBob side.
It kind of made me slightly depressed.
I'm still holding on to my SpongeBob side. Okay, I have the inner child in me is screaming. It's like, yes, let me out.
I mean, I feel like when you finally get to that point where you see people at the ages that you used to be, and you're like, I couldn't have been that bad, could I? Was my class really that bad when I was in that grade?
Yeah, but it's getting younger and younger now. It's like the older we get, the worse things are looking for the generation after us. It's rough. I feel bad for them.
I mean, people who literally were growing up in the 2000s are now around the ages where they graduate? What the fuck is that? Dude, there's literally a 90s kid museum.
Oh no. Is it really?
I saw that crap on TikTok.
No.
As soon as I saw that, I was just like, no, we've reached the point where we're history.
It's happening.
I'm really getting that old. It's funny though, so many people are like, man, 30's old, but it's like, shit, you kind of do start feeling old around 30.
I actually sat there and I was like, I have to look this up now.
Yeah, there's a 90s kid museum. It's, one, I mean, I want to go, but two, do I really want to go? Because I feel like that entire time I'd just be like, fuck.
Dying inside?
Yes.
Oh man, that's so wild. We're not that old.
How old are you?
Older than you.
Oops, that's every, person ever, I guess.
Oh no, I'm getting there. I'm not at 30 yet though.
You're 29.
Not there yet either.
28.
Yeah, I mean, you're just gonna keep saying the numbers until I agree, huh?
27.
How old are you?
26. I'm being serious, I am 26 though.
Oh god, I'm 28, dude.
Really? You said no.
No, I said you're gonna keep guessing until you get the number, aren't you? At 28. I never said no.
And see, I said 28 and you didn't say anything, so I'm like, okay, he's younger.
I didn't say yes or no. I said what I said.
So were there any causes that are near and dear to your heart?
Any causes that are near and dear to my heart?
No, anything that you just, I guess charity-wise or anything like that.
I know it's going to be bad to say this, but I don't have one. And I don't do a lot of research into them.
Canceled.
That's canceled right off the rip. Does not support charities. No. So the reason I don't really do charities, I like to give money up front to, organizations and whatnot, rather than, it go through a whole process. And I learned that because of the Wounded Warrior Project in the military. There was donations that would go out to the cause to help wounded warriors. And one of the top people there were spending the money how they wanted to, in a way, as the best way to really put it. And it wasn't going really towards the wounded warriors. It was going towards his pockets. And it kind of taught me to, look out for charities. Okay, I have to be more cautious in this stuff.
Which, that does make a lot of sense. I'm not gonna name any names, but if anybody could, with a simple Google search, you'll figure out probably one of the most well-known charities that is involved in a lot of different where's this money going? Is this money actually going towards what they say it's going toward? It's, I'm not gonna say it, I'm not even gonna allude to it, but people know, and I'm pretty sure you probably do too.
Oh yeah, it lines the pockets.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy how, a lot of times, you want to support a cause or something, and nothing's worse than finding out that the cause that you want to support is, not fully supporting with all the money they receive.
And it kind of, it makes you wonder, what kind of, I guess, how messed up of a person do you have to be to market yourself as a charity and then pocket, 90% of the money?
You have to be a pretty bad person, but they're also a pretty smart person, in a sense, because you got to think that the way that their brain is working is, what can I use to, reach out to the hearts of those for them to line my pockets with green, So, they're scam artists in a sense, but I don't mind, sending donations to cancer research and whatnot. I would love to, see nothing more than, us coming up with the cure to be able to, hopefully an affordable cure, so, people who have it can, be treated properly.
And so, I was looking up another charity that I had completely forgotten the name of, but I had seen a lot of streamers do streams devoted to it. And I think I brought this up with you before. What do you think about Stack Up?
Stack Up?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard of Stack Up.
So, they're a charity basically built by veterans, active duty military, all of that, who give games and video games and all of that to veterans, active duty, military members currently in hospitals, and they give them, sort of gaming care packages, games, consoles, all of that to, give them something fun, give them something to distract themselves while they're not in the field, while they're appealing, while they're adapting to civilian life. Run solely off of donations. Everything goes to what they say it's going to go to.
If it's 100% legit, I'm all for it. It sounds like a pretty good cause. I haven't seen anything about them. I'll have to do my research on them, but, realistically, if that's how it works and, they're 100% legit, all for it.
Snowdemon charity stream coming soon.
Hey, charity stream coming soon?
And gotta get that, little plug in there.
Hey, make sure we get that in.
Because, I always tell him that, the key is to market yourself. Even if that is just throwing in, subscribe to twitch.tv/Snowdemon and follow and tell your friends and post on Facebook in the middle of a sentence.
He's not wrong. He tells me that a lot.
What's really sad is I only took one marketing class. Not to hate on marketing majors, but what else do you learn? Because I feel
it's
like
really all about selling yourself and how to get yourself out there.
I feel like I learned basically the entire extent of marketing in the one intro class that I took.
How much more in depth can it go? And not to shit on them or anything about.
I'm not even trying to shit on you guys. If anybody is watching this and they're a marketing major, don't get offended by this. I literally want to know what else do you learn in your upper level classes?
I'm not knowledge in that area at all. I just know a lot of marketing and is to sell the product that is which you're trying to get rid of to make some good monies.
Well, on that note, is there anything else you'd like to say? Plug yourself. Where can these people find you at?
Hey, yeah. So, if y'all in the Twitch area, go ahead and follow me at www.twitch.tv/Snowdemon502. And go ahead
you really
slap
are
that
old.
follow button and ring that notification bell so you know when I get live again. If you guys want further questions and you ask me whatever he didn't ask me that you might want to know, by all means, you can come to the stream, ask away. I'm an open book. Just don't ask for my credit card information or, date of birth, because, I don't want to lose my money again.
Again?
I was a young, dumb person back in the day.
Well, on that note, do you have anything else besides your Twitch that you want to plug? Any other socials?
Hey, we're working on our YouTube channel now, and currently in the making of 2 different videos I'm coming up with. I did a 48-hour stream that I'm actually plugging in certain parts of that video onto the finale part of the YouTube video for the trailer, so that's gonna be pretty good. And also, if you guys have a TikTok, it's Snowdemon502 there as well, so go ahead and leave me a follow on there as well. You know, check out some of the content we'll be putting up. Twitter handle is Snowdemon502 still, so everything's right the same. If you type in my name, you're bound to find at least one of those.
My dude is over here grinding, 48 hours for content.
That was rough.
Y'all need to go and drop him a follow. Come on, that deserves at least a follow. You don't gotta sub, you don't gotta donate. Nobody says you have to come back and watch. Just drop him a follow.
Hey, every little follow is appreciation for me, okay? We're just trying to reach that 1,000 follower marker, and then we got a long way to go. Also, did you pop into my 48-hour stream?
I did. I was there for like 90% of it.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
this was a long
This was
night.
one of the few streams where, before I left and when I got off, you were still on. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in there before I went to work and after I left.
It was just a weird feeling, when I would stream and I'd be, I was going on the first 24 hours, everyone would go to bed after the long work day and they'd come back. And it was just the weirdest thing. And they would go back to bed again and I would still be live, so it was kind of wild. I was like, there's no way that he showed up. I can't remember. I honestly don't remember too much of it, so rewatching the stream is kind of rough. Like, I'm like digging through it and, I don't see everybody who popped in there.
But hey, like Snow said, we'll have I guess we'll be doing a Gen Z, Zennial, whatever you want to call them, lingo video, so we both can slowly go insane and question what is going on with the youth of the world.
I love it. I'm going to use every little bit of it. Am I hip now, kids? Am I hip now?
Am I jiggy with it? Is that what you kids say now?
No cap.
Man, this entire one-on-one has been very sus.
Hey. I forgot the sentence that I had that I built up based off of that, but I loved it. God, their lingo's legit.
Alright. Well, as always, I'm FatefulEndingz, also known as Adam. Remember, subscribe, like the video, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, subscribe and drop a comment, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on YouTube at FatefulEndingz and Twitter at Mr_AdamG.
I always follow him.
Thanks again, and I'll see you next time on Go One-on-One.